What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today, it's a little bit of a story time today because I want to talk about all of my injuries physically, and I want to highlight why I focus so much on mental health. So, to jump right into it, like I know a lot of you guys have been here for a long time, and if you haven't been here for a long time, I've already explained a lot of these already. But I want to highlight like the specific mindset and perspective I have around why I believe mental health is so important. Because over my years of going to the gym and training, and especially getting back into bodybuilding and finding that confidence for myself and finding that passion for just the gym again. Like the biggest thing that the gym gave me was like that just saving grace, that safe haven from just life, trauma, world, everything, right? And it wasn't really so much about what I was doing in the gym, I guess. If I think about it, it was more so just the feeling it gave me, all exercise in general. And like you do, obviously there is like stigmas and stuff I could say about, you know, like not being more athletic and doing that stuff. But I never really did that as a kid, so it wasn't really my priority. Like lifting weights and seeing like Arnold Schwarzenegger on TV, bodybuilder like Phil Heath, like Jeremy Bonita, like all these different people. Like I was more attracted to the aesthetics, I believe. So I think that just kind of came naturally to me, like when I just kind of like navigated that way. And again, like I said, not playing sports and having like, I could blame it on having like a male figure around, things like that. But my best friends and my close friends, they're all very sports and heavy background, but not me. So, I think like I was always just gave me a really good mental fortitude. I always remember feeling so much better. So the reason why I want to talk about the injuries and why I focus on mental health is because since it's been so like deep embedded into my life and who I am as a person, I never looked at it in certain perspectives until I started really working with many people in the world that want to become better versions of themselves, And so I just assumed, again, side tangent of like the mental health background for people that haven't been around and people that have been around, more of like a reiteration of how I feel with certain things is, like I always grew up feeling inferior. I always grew up feeling really insecure, small, not worthy of anything. And to be honest, that had a huge, and I'm still working this, I'm working on this now. And I believe like to a degree I will for the rest of my life. But, it's the validation, right? Like looking for validation through like, the negligence of growing up without a mom being really present around, same with dad, family like that. So, it's really like you're almost like lost into abyss of looking for validation that you're wanting and loathed for and things. So I never felt relevant, like, I had fucking horrible social anxiety, fucking convinced like people that it didn't exist or like tried to at least because I was so jacked up. So, I just assumed with I guess, a paired emotion. When I fell in love with the gym, I just assumed, well, fuck, if I love this and I'm not worthy of anything else, like, fuck, everyone feels the exact same way towards the gym. So it wasn't really until recently that I got into a really big perspective shift of like, even Emma, for example, we were at the gym recently within the last year. And, for anyone that doesn't know, like, we've been together for 5+ years. So, and like, we look up to each other in so many different avenues. And, she has a crazy sports background, right? She was team captain of everything. She went to Team Canada for a lot of things. And, I idolize that because I never played sports, right? And I know how serious that is, like from a just like a perspective of competition and like level that you played, right? So, me looking up to her in that regard, I never even once thought about her needing help in the gym. So what do you mean? You're a fucking athlete. You're performance-based, motherfucker. You train your body. You're like, and anyone that I work with knows, like, anyone that I work with that has a sports background or continues to play sports while we're training together, I fucking love it. Or do spin classes, conditioning days, things like this, because that shit's hard. You're built different. And like, if you understand the science behind it, the physiological like effects that you could do, especially like pairing it with proper nutrition, recovery, and fuel, man, you can really change your fucking life. So I'm jealous of it, right? So, when it comes to simple things in the gym of being like, yo, can you help me fucking set up the cable tricep extension single arm or whatever the fuck it is? It's like, why are you asking me for? I'm not worthy of anything. I don't have no validation or self-worth anywhere, and you're a fucking athlete. Why do you want me? So until I realized that, like, I've been in the gym for more than half my life, over a decade, about 15 years now. And it's been my thing that I've learned every avenue, every machine, everything in there, right? So to put that in perspective, I didn't realize, like, that it wasn't such an embedded non-negotiable to everybody. And the reason why I want to highlight the injuries that I've been through and why I focus on mental health is because when I got into my car accident, March 11th, 2011, and to give you a little bit of a background, 7:58 in the morning, I am completely fucking fine. And then 8:04, I'm waking up from several concussions, beating back and forth in that car, like practically dead, not knowing what the fuck's going on. And, like since that day, like after that day, like I was like bedridden and like all this trauma, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. But like the craziest thing about it is like, there was never a day that I ever considered not going to the gym. Like it's just crazy. Like I can't think back and think of a time that I would rather not go to the gym. And anyone that knows me, like that were around when I really struggled with depression and struggle with like motivation and wanting to do things, I still do that a lot. Like I'm very one-sided sometimes with like what I'm willing to put my time into for various reasons and things. And sometimes it's very hard, which is why I appreciate the people around me that like, encourage me to get out, encourage me to do things, and like, I understand why I'm this way. But like it never ever even occurred to me to not go to the gym no matter how depressed I was. And no matter how much pain I was, even when I had the hernia surgery in 2015, like I literally it was 2015. I had the hernia surgery, and it was like it was laparoscopic or whatever it is. I think that might be the wrong word for it, but it was behind. It was very tiny. It was less invasive than a typical surgery, and it just blows my mind because like they literally wrote it on a paper, and this is how stubborn I am. Anyone knows me knows me. It's so funny. It was like, yeah, you're fucked for 14 days. Like he literally was like, you're fucked. Like you literally have a hole in your stomach, and you know what I mean? Like you like several holes like down here because X, Y, and Z, like pelvic floor, da 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 da. I was like, but I can go to the gym day 15. He's like, yes. When you go to when you go to on day 15, you can go back to the gym. I swear to God, day 15, I was fucking on the treadmill, get my warm up and trying to incline bench that day. And I remember I tried laying back to do barbell bench press, and I couldn't lay back because my stomach was. Oh my God. I still cringe from that pain, like how uncomfortable that surgery and everything was for me. And side tangent too, anyone that asks, like anyone that knows me and asks me and I talk to in person, I'll say it over and over and over again. I'd rather be in that car accident 4 times over, 3 times over, 10 times over than have that hernia surgery. And I'll get into a story of my physical injuries and things like that in a second, because it was the most uncomfortable procedure I've ever had in my entire life. And I just think it's like, no one should go through that. No one should go through that stuff. Like no one should go. But day 15, I was back in the gym, and it never even occurred to me to even like not go back, And I think when I really start my list of injuries, I think when I broke my hand and I ruptured a tendon in my pinky, had to have several surgeries for that because of that's a whole different other story. But of what I was going through mentally and how I injured it and things like that. But that kind of like the tendon went up into my shoulder. So in 2017, I broke my hand, and I had 3 surgeries on it. Yeah, 3 surgeries on it. 1 for a boxer fracture to fix the knuckle, 2 for the tendon, and then the tendon never got healed fully because the pinky tendon is one of the smallest tendons in the body, I guess, and which makes sense. But I can't lift my right pinky all the way up straight. So what that did was it like kind of set an imbalance into my shoulders through like, my body tried to compensate on the other side. So on top of being in the car accident in 2011, already having like, I never tore my right rotator cuff, but I like say that just to make it like easier because it's like the physio pretty much said it practically was because how compromised it was. Because my rotator cuff got compromised in 2011 from the car accident. But what happened with the car accident was like all my ribs got jolted into my spine. So like if you put your hands together in front of you, like you're almost like, like just conjoining them and kind of putting them in your lap to kind of like, be still, like as your parents says, put your hands together and shut the fuck up. Like kind of like that. Like if you like open your hand and see like your fingers intertwined, like pretty much when I got hit from the car, it's like almost like that's how your ribs are in their sockets. And then it's like it got joined, they stabbed each other, they got fucking squished. So that caused a shit ton of scar tissue along my ribs, my thoracic spine, my chest cavity, my I think it's clavicle, like my collarbone, and my rotator cuff. So like it's all jacked up. So I have actually a huge imbalance on my right side because of it, long story short. But that's an injury I got from the car accident as well. So when I had the 2017 broken hand, that ended up opening up a different imbalance in my shoulder that was set for 7-8 years after the car accident. Like, because I always suffer from migraines and things. So it was like my body was just set up in a broken way, but that broken way functioned. So when that happened, it ended up making me kind of like focus on a couple other injuries. And then what happened was later on that year in 2017, I think 2018, I ended up really hurting my left pec, like really bad hurting my left pec to the point that I still kind of can't even bench the same way. And, it's 2024. So once 2018 hit, 2017, 2018, I really had to say stop everything and attend to my injuries. So to sum it up, because I rambled a little bit, the injuries I actually had stemming all the way back to the very first one from the car accident was the car accident, got into it, I was T-boned. and got knocked unconscious. It ruptured, fucked up my right rotator cuff. I explained how it brought my ribs in together with a bunch of soft tissue damage. My right levator, my right, all of my thoracic straight up, like even as I'm sitting here right now, I got to get in the tub later on, is just like it's heat, it's hot, it's always inflamed. So whiplash, the whole 9 yards. So I have a bunch of scar tissue, things like that. I got the hernia in 2011 as well from getting hit so hard. So I got a really small hernia. I didn't need a surgery for it at the time, and that's just a whole other different story. But so I had the hernia, actually, inguinal hernia. So anyone that doesn't know, that's actually in your groin. So from 2015 until, 2011 until 2015. So by the time in 2015 I had the surgery, it was pretty fucked up. So then what happened is 2015, I had the hernia surgery, and then I got back into bodybuilding and everything like that. So, but what happened was coming to 2017, breaking my hand, and in 2018, pulling my pec, was all of these injuries combined together. The car accident on the right side, it made an imbalance in my thoracic spine because my right rotator cuff had scar tissue. So it wasn't as good activation. So there's a lot of imbalances that I needed to work on, which I am, and the most of them are pretty much gone now. But also with the hernia surgery, with the hole in my pelvic floor and the abs, that caused an imbalance on my pelvic floor. But my right hip is also compromised because of the car accident. Like there's nothing per se fucked up with my hip or fucked up with like the bones, but there's a ton of soft tissue damage and imbalances because of getting like really hit because the door jammed into my right hip. So my TFL, my hip flexor, my glute med is severely fucking deep. Like I'm still to this day, that's probably the worst area I got on me right now. Is like the deep tissue work I need to get on it. But it's a progress. But what that does is creates an imbalance. But on top of having the pelvic floor injury, like it just was horrible. So by the time I really started to rehab myself 2018 to present day, my left glute was completely dormant. My pelvic floor was dormant. My left trap was dormant. And I had a couple it's superficial fascial lines that help stabilize my thoracic spine, my mid back, and my low back, so my lumbar. A lot of those went dormant as well, just from my anterior, so front-facing positions that I was stuck in. So, a long story short, I looked really good because my chest, front shoulders, arms always worked, but my back never worked really well because the stabilizers were trash. Lower body didn't work as well, neither. And going back to feeling inferior, I always felt like everyone kind of dealt with that stuff. I didn't know people felt okay, I guess, and I guess that just goes back to a whole other reason, which is why I focus on mental health. And I focused on mental health because like everything I just talked about with the injuries, it's crazy, and like 9 times out of 10, most people, when I explain all that stuff, they're like, what the fuck? Like, like what the hell, how are you still like so persistent? And if you catch the last episode, persistence and why it's important that no one's going to fucking do anything for you, is that like that's what's remarkable about this story and why I focus on mental health, because all that shit there, and I never not once thought I would giving it up. Never not once. Like I'm doing a show this year. I'm fucking determined to do a show, and I'm gonna do a show. I want to rekindle that relationship with myself. I'm going to, period. And that just goes to show how hard that mental health can really fucking hit you. The depression I've suffered, the anxiety I've suffered, the inferiority I've suffered, the ways I've viewed life, the perspectives, the feelings and emotions I've endured before I've really healed myself and been blessed with everything that I have currently, the support I have around me, the love I have around me, all that stuff, it does not compare to the physical at all. At all. And that's why I'm so big on mental health and mindset, why I use the verbiage, the words, looking in the mirror, conviction that you love yourself, looking in the mirror, knowing that gut check isn't going to come up because you're fucking a good person. You're happy with who you are, because the biggest thing, and it's like gives me cold chills every time I talk about it, is like, we all have that inner fight. And that's the biggest thing when I even talk about that in the persistence episode, right? We're shell of humans. We're all humans. We're all got that shell of a human. We all got to operate with a certain degree in the same. And it's like, the same thing with mental health. We all have that inner voice, that inner dialogue, that inner part of us that, we may not even be embracing or aware that's there, or, it's like, some demons, and beyond that door is the truest version of you, and that's why I'm so big on mental health, because the physical side of it is a form of showing up. And, and I just think, I'm very blessed to be in the position that I am in, because, and this is a whole other way that I guess I could just end off this episode so I don't continue to rant, is, there's 2 things they always offered people in life in terms of like anyone that wants a career advancement or anything like this. And, you know, in terms of like promotions or like on a resume, it's like, you know, what is the two most highest trustworthy things? It's education and experience. And when you think of everything I've been through the injuries, the mental health is a whole different story. I didn't even talk about that. But you know, I got a ton of experience with all these different things: resetting your hips, resetting your pelvic floor, resetting your shoulders, making sure everything's good, looking at everything from a holistic standpoint, like looking at everything to make sure you can move and be healthy and all these different things. And you know, I look at it all as a blessing because I have so much experience that, like, you know, growing up the way I did, I would have never been fortunate enough to have money or access to learn these things, get educated for these things. And on top of that, I would have never been mentally confident enough or strong enough to fucking pursue it anyways. So, you know, look at it as, not to make it religious or anything, but a God-given will that this is the journey that I'm on. And that's just fucking it, you know? So that's why I focus on mental health, because, you know, you can have a nice-ass car, a.k.a. a body. You can look fucking great. You can drive your car on the highway, but guess what? When you're at home by yourself and you look in that mirror and you just want to take your car and drive it off the fucking cliff or hit it against the guardrails, what's the point of whatever it is? What's the point of anything if that's what you're thinking about? Or are you getting anything remotely that's not 100% full of abundance, full of happiness, full of joy, full of fulfillment? You know, so that's why I focus on mental health, because if you can believe it, you can achieve it, and if you can see it, it's gonna come true. You just gotta know how to stay persistent and show the fuck up, you know? But anyways, I appreciate you guys all. Long-winded rant. I appreciate you all for tuning in as always. And you know, let's fucking crush this week. Let's go. Step to me, I'll never run. You player two, I'm player one. Cross you up, that's one-on-one. I send a text, I know she come. You're the one she blocking out. I'm the one she talk about. Emo girl, I rock it out. Okay, I see I'm popping.